For pretty much all of human history, we've thought of aging as this unstoppable one-way street, a slow decline that's just a part of life. But what if that basic assumption is totally wrong? What if the instructions for how to be young are still written inside our own cells, just waiting for us to read them again?
And I mean really reversible. We're not just talking about slowing it down a bit with diet and exercise. We're talking about actually turning back the clock on a cellular level. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But some groundbreaking research is suggesting it might be a lot closer to science fact than any of us ever imagined.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a huge deal, we've got to look at this weird paradox that we're all living through right now. We're living longer than ever before in history, but are we actually living better?
I mean, this is a monumental achievement. Thanks to all the advances in medicine and public health, we've tacked on an entire decade to the average human life in just the last 100 years. That's incredible.
But here's the catch. Our lifespan, how long we live, that line just keeps climbing. But our health span, the number of years we're actually healthy and feeling good, that's kind of flatlined. So we're spending more and more of those extra years fighting off chronic, age-related diseases, things like heart failure, Alzheimer's, and cancer.
And this isn't some far-off problem. By 2050, the number of elderly folks is set to double. Just think about that. That means a potential explosion of age-related diseases that will put a massive strain on our healthcare systems, on our families, on everything. So the goal can't just be about adding more years to our life, it has to be about adding more life to our years.
All right, so to figure out how we might reverse aging, we first have to understand what it actually is. And spoiler, it's not just about wrinkles and gray hair. It's about real, measurable damage happening deep inside our cells. Scientists have basically boiled it down to what they call the 12 hallmarks of aging. You can think of them as the 12 main ways our cellular machinery starts to, well, break down over the years. They're all connected, and together they pretty much define what aging is on a biological level.
And this chart here gives you a great visual. You see things like genomic instability, which in simple terms just means our DNA's instruction manual starts getting full of typos. Or look over here at telomere attrition. Think of the little plastic tips on your shoelaces. That's kind of what telomeres are for our chromosomes, and over time they just fray and get shorter. Each one of these things contributes to our cells not working as well as they used to.
So if aging is basically just this collection of different kinds of damage, the billion-dollar question is, can we fix it? Can we actually hit some kind of cellular reset button? Well, this is where the science of reprogramming comes in, and honestly, it is mind-blowing. So back in 2006, a scientist named Shinya Yamanaka made this incredible Nobel Prize-winning discovery. He figured out that just 4 specific proteins, now called Yamanaka factors, could basically act like a master command for a cell. You could take, say, a skin cell from an adult, and these factors could tell it to go all the way back to square one, to its original embryonic-like state. It's literally telling an old cell to become young again.
And what's super cool, and what this diagram shows, is that this isn't just an on or off switch, it's more like a dimmer. You can take an old cell and rewind it all the way back to what's called a pluripotent stem cell, which can become any other cell. Or you can just nudge it back a bit, just enough to rejuvenate it while it still remembers what it's supposed to be. And this right here, this is the critical difference. We don't want to do a full factory reset on our cells, right? Because that erases what they are and it comes with a big risk of causing tumors. No, what we want is more like restoring from a backup. That's what we call partial reprogramming. The whole idea is to wipe away the junk, the damage of aging, while the cell still remembers, hey, I'm a skin cell or I'm a liver cell. That's the key to making this whole thing safe.
Okay, so this has all been theory, right? Let's look at how this incredible idea turned into a jaw-dropping, real-world result that gives us a real glimpse of what the future could hold. This led to this huge question that researchers at Harvard wanted to answer. Does our body actually hold on to a backup copy of its youth? I mean, is the original healthy blueprint for our cells still stored somewhere inside them, even when they're old?
So in this game-changing study from 2020, published in Nature, they put this to the test. They took old mice that were losing their vision and other mice where they damaged their optic nerve, kind of like what happens in glaucoma. Then, and this is the cool part, they used a harmless virus to deliver just 3 of those Yamanaka factors. They cleverly left out the one that's known to be a bit risky with cancer. And the results? They were just incredible. The damaged nerve cells actually started to regenerate. The old mice could see again.
I mean, listen to what the researchers themselves concluded. They said that our tissues seem to hold on to a record of youthful information that we can access to make them work better and regenerate.
It's like they're saying, yep, the backup copy is real, and we just figured out how to restore from it.
Okay, so this is all incredibly exciting, but let's pump the brakes for a second. We're not about to start booking appointments at rejuvenation clinics tomorrow. The road from making blind mice see to safely treating aging in you and me is a long one, and there's some pretty big hurdles to clear.
So what are we up against? Well, first, there's delivery. How do you get these factors to just the right cells you want to treat and not everywhere else? Then there's control. How do you dial it in perfectly so you're only getting that partial reprogramming, not the risky full reset? And of course, the big one, safety. How can we be absolutely sure there are no long-term risks, like tumors, down the line?
But here's the thing. Yeah, the challenges are real, but they're mostly engineering problems. The massive biological discovery, the core idea, has been made. The code is starting to be cracked. It looks like aging, on a cellular level, really might be reversible.
And that leaves us with this huge paradigm-shifting question. For all of history, we've just accepted aging as a fact of life. But what if it isn't? What if we're standing on the edge of a future where aging is just another condition that we can treat?